The dusty air of Tatooine carried the traveler into Watto's shop, their cloak billowing as they inquired about parts for a Nubian starship. Anakin and Padme Skywalker, the younger brother and older sister, are focused on their tasks, seemingly unbothered by the presence of the newcomer. Their attention is more on the antics of an amphibious creature causing chaos with the pit droids. Neither pay much mind to it. That is, until the creature gets into a heated scuffle with the notorious pod racer Sebulba at one of the nearby shops. Anakin chuckles, nudging Padme. Looks like that thing's got a vendetta against the droids. Padme shakes her head, focusing on her task. Not again. Dang barrack, that Sebulba. The situation escalates when the amphibian gets into a heated scuffle with Sebulba at this little bar, the infamous pod racer. Anakin and Padme step in, trying to calm the commotion. Anakin and Padme, used to dealing with trouble, quickly step in to defuse the situation, but curiosity lingers, prompting them to follow the travelers as they leave the shop. As tensions rise, a fierce sandstorm sweeps across the desert, driving everyone to seek shelter at the Skywalker residence. Have you ever wondered what would have happened if Anakin and Padme Amidala had been siblings? Well, if you have, then today you are in for a spectacular treat, because that is exactly what we will be diving into today on this episode of Bantha Stew's What If. So, strap into your pod racer, grab a warm bowl of Bantha Stew, and let's dive right into What If Anakin and Padme were siblings. If you enjoy what you see today, I would highly recommend that you like and subscribe to our channel, as it really helps out the little guys like us, and I would love to see this community continue to grow. Now, without further ado, let's hop right into the story. As the evening settles, the travelers, including a mysterious man named Qui-Gon Jinn, join the siblings for a humble meal. Amidst the conversation, Qui-Gon's interest is piqued by Anakin's tales of pod racing and his unusual conception, sparking a deep curiosity about the boy's destiny. The night before the Boonta Eve Classic, a quiet tension hangs in the air. Anakin, eager but restless, finds himself in a dimly lit corner of the Skywalker home with Qui-Gon Jinn, the Jedi's calm presence a stark contrast to the boy's nervous energy. Padme, always protective of her younger brother, lingers nearby, listening intently. As Qui-Gon softly speaks, he reaches out for a small device, explaining, "I'm just checking for infections, Anakin. Nothing to worry about." Anakin nods, trusting the Jedi, but Padme feels a chill run down her spine. She watches as Qui-Gon steps aside to communicate with his apprentice, Obi-Wan Kenobi. The term midi-chlorians is mentioned, followed by the astonishing news that Anakin's count exceeds 20,000, whatever that meant. Padme's mind races, piecing together other fragments of their conversation. The Jedi are interested in Anakin for more than just his racing skills. They see something powerful in him. Later, when the house is quiet, Padme pulls Anakin aside. "Annie, I overheard something. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, they're talking about making you a Jedi." Anakin's eyes light up. "Really? A Jedi? That's amazing," he says. Padme's expression darkens. "But if they take you, Annie, they won't take me or Mom. We'll be left behind." The excitement drains from Anakin's face, replaced by a deep, troubled frown. "They wouldn't do that, would they?" Padme sighs, placing her hand on his shoulder. "I don't know, Annie, but I can't imagine the Jedi letting us come along. They have rules. Rules that we don't fit into." Anakin lies awake that night, his mind torn between the dream of becoming a Jedi and the fear of leaving his family behind. The promise of adventure is alluring, but at the same time, the thought of abandoning his mother and sister gnaws at him, keeping the sleep at bay. The next morning, Qui-Gon arrives, ready to take Anakin to the pod race. Anakin, with determination in his eyes, stops him. "Master Qui-Gon, are you planning to make me a Jedi?" Qui-Gon, with a gentle smile, nods. "That's the plan, Anakin. You have a great destiny ahead of you." Anakin takes a deep breath. "I won't go unless my family comes with me. I'll win the race, and I'll get us off this planet, but I won't leave without them." Qui-Gon is taken aback by the boy's resolve, with a hint of amusement in his gaze. "I admire your loyalty, Anakin, but freeing your mother and sister wasn't a part of the bargain I made with Watto." Anakin's eyes harden. "Then make it a part of the deal now. I won't go if they can't come." Qui-Gon, sensing the boy's unwavering spirit, finally relents. "Very well, Anakin. I'll do everything in my power to ensure your family is freed." With that, Anakin nods, the weight of his decision pressing on his shoulders as he heads into the pod race, knowing that everything now rests upon him. As Anakin's pod racer is prepped in the bustling hangar, Qui-Gon Jinn finds himself approached by a familiar presence, Jedi Master Quinlan Vos, his dark eyes sharp with curiosity. Qui-Gon greets him with a nod, and they step aside to speak privately, away from the noise of preparations. Master Jinn, Vos begins, I sense there's something troubling you. What brings you to Tatooine? Qui-Gon wastes no time, explaining his discovery of Anakin's potential and the predicament with Watto. The boy is strong with the Force, but he and his family are slaves. I have secured Anakin's freedom if he wins the race, but I lack the means to free his mother and sister. Voss's expression hardens with resolve. Leave that to me. I'll settle the debt with Watto and purchase their freedom. It's the least I can do for you. Qui-Gon offers a rare smile of gratitude. Thank you, Quinlan. You've lifted a great burden. With the matter settled, Qui-Gon returns to Anakin, who's already climbing into his pod racer, his nerves and excitement warring on his young face. The Jedi Master holds out a hand on the boy's shoulder, his voice calm and reassuring. Anakin, you have nothing to worry about. My friend has secured Padme and your mother's freedom. All you need to do is finish the race. Anakin's eyes light up with a mixture of relief and determination. Really? They're going to be free? Qui-Gon nods, a knowing look in his eyes. Yes, but remember, Anakin, trust in the Force. Let it guide you. Anakin takes a deep breath, closing his eyes for a moment as he focuses inward, feeling the energy of the Force surround him. With renewed confidence, he readies himself for the race, gripping the controls tightly. The race begins, and Anakin's focus is unparalleled. With the assurance of his family's freedom, he channels all of his energy into the task at hand. The wind whips through his hair as he maneuvers his pod racer with precision, deftly avoiding the obstacles and outmaneuvering his opponents. Sebulba, his longtime rival, tries to sabotage him at every single turn, but Anakin remains calm, remembering the Force and trying to anticipate and counter the dog's dirty tactics. It's a spectacular final lap, and Anakin pulls ahead, his pod racer a blur of speed and skill. The finish line looms, and Anakin pushes forward, rocketing past Sebulba and securing his victory. The crowd erupts into cheers as Anakin crosses the finish line, triumphant and unscathed. Foden Bede remarked to everyone about how remarkable of a pod race that was. Padme and Shmi rush to him, their faces filled with pride and joy. They embrace Anakin tightly, and even Qui-Gon can't help but smile at the boy's success. The crowd gathers around them, praising the young hero who has just defied the odds. Watto, however, is much less enthusiastic. The Toydarian slave owner hovers nearby, scowling as Vos approaches with the payment in hand. I don't like this one bit, Watto grumbles. Losing one slave was bad enough, but now, all of them? Vos hands over the credits with a smirk. A deal's a deal, Watto. They're free. Grumbling under his breath, Watto reluctantly agrees, freeing Shmi and Padme just as he'd promised. Anakin beams with pride as he brings the parts of the Naboo cruiser, feeling that he had finally secured a better future for his family. But as the group nears the ship, their joy is cut short by the sudden appearance of a strange-looking man wielding a red lightsaber, cloaked in darkness. The figure lunges at Qui-Gon with his crimson blade, and the Jedi Master swiftly counters, engaging in a fierce duel. The Skywalkers rush to the safety of the Naboo craft, the hum of lightsabers clashing and echoing in the background. Qui-Gon, the ever-skilled warrior, matches the Sith blow for blow, using the Force to guide his movements. But the assassin is relentless, pressing him back towards the ship. With a final, forceful push, Qui-Gon breaks away and leaps onto the boarding ramp, narrowly escaping as the ship's engines roar for life. The Skywalkers watch in awe as the Sith assassin disappears in the distance, their encounter a chilling reminder of the dangers that still lie ahead. But for now, they're free, and together they prepare for the journey that's going to change their lives forever. Upon the sleek, shimmering world of Coruscant, the towering spires of the Jedi Temple stand as a beacon of hope and peace to the population. Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, who are still processing the events of Tatooine, entered the hallowed halls of the Jedi Council chambers. The members of the Council, a circle of the galaxy's most powerful and wise Jedi, listen intently as Qui-Gon recounts their journey. There's much to discuss, Masters, Qui-Gon begins, his voice steady but urgent. "We've encountered a boy on Tatooine, Anakin Skywalker. His midichlorian count is higher than any in recorded history." Murmurs ripple through the council. Yoda's eyes narrow, the wisdom of centuries etched into his expression. Mace Windu leans forward, his tone grave. "And you believe that this is the chosen one?" "I do," replies Qui-Gon confidently. "But I must stress that his potential is untrained and his path is uncertain." The council nods in silent agreement, and then Yoda speaks. "Tested, this boy must be. Only then, the truth shall we know." Anakin, accompanied by Padme and Shmi, is ushered into the chamber. The young boy stands before the imposing council, and his small frame is dwarfed by the grandeur of the room. Despite awe-inspiring surroundings, Anakin remains calm, his confidence bolstered by the presence of his family. The Jedi Council subjects Anakin to a series of tests, probing his connection to the Force. His reflexes are impeccable, his mind sharp, and his understanding of the Force, though raw, is profound. The Council members exchange glances, sensing the boy's unique potential. But, more importantly, they sense no fear in him. His heart is steady and anchored by the love of his mother and sister, who are with him on Coruscant. After the tests conclude, Mace Windu addresses the young Anakin. "You've done well, young Skywalker. Your connection to the Force is strong." Anakin smiles, a glimmer of pride in his eyes. "Thank you, Master," he says. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan return to the council chambers after the tests, where the council has reached a decision. "Anakin's training as a Jedi shall commence," Mace Windu declares. "But there's only one matter we must address. His attachments." Qui-Gon steps forward, explaining, "Anakin's family has accompanied us to Coruscant. Quinlan Voss ensured their freedom from Tatooine. They have nowhere else to go." The council deliberates briefly before Yoda speaks. "Allow them to stay, we will. But learn to manage his attachments, young Skywalker must. Fear of loss, a path to the dark side, it is." Anakin's heart soars at the news that his family will remain close, even as he embarks on his Jedi training. The Council's decision is unprecedented, but they recognize the boy's extraordinary circumstances and the importance of his familiar bond. Anakin's training would be unlike any other, and he must learn to balance his deep love for his family with the detachment that the Jedi Order demands. Meanwhile, the political situation on Naboo takes a different turn. With Padme not being the queen, the current monarch bows to Palpatine's manipulations and to the Trade Federation. The Trade Federation's blockade remains unresolved as Palpatine's machinations weave through the Senate, ultimately allowing for the Federation's expulsion and severe fines. Palpatine's power in the Senate grows, his influence creeping into every corner of the Republic. However, Anakin's existence, hidden within the sanctity of the Jedi Temple, goes unnoticed by the Sith Lord. In this altered timeline, Darth Maul remains a loyal apprentice to Darth Sidious, while Count Dooku, disillusioned by the corruption of the Jedi Order, prepares to leave. His knowledge of Sidious's true identity and the darkness within the Republic solidifies his decision to walk away, setting the stage for a future conflict that will test the galaxy's togetherness. For now, the Skywalkers find solace in the Jedi Temple, unaware of the larger forces at play. Anakin's journey as the Chosen One had begun, but the path ahead is fraught with challenges and uncertainties that will test the fate of the galaxy. Years continue to pass, and the once eager Anakin Skywalker has grown into a formidable Jedi under the guidance of Qui-Gon Jinn. As Obi-Wan completes his Jedi trials and ascends to knighthood, the mantle of Anakin's master falls to Qui-Gon, who becomes a father figure the young man never had. Qui-Gon's unique interpretation of the Jedi Code and the Force, emphasizing balance, compassion, and trust in the living Force, resonates deeply within Anakin. Anakin, now 17, is the youngest Jedi Knight in the Order's history. His natural aptitude for the Force, combined with Qui-Gon's patient and understanding mentorship, allows him to excel in ways that even the Council could not foresee. His connection to the Force deepens, his understanding broadens, and he develops a maturity with age. Padme and Shmi remain integral parts of Anakin's life, their love and support providing him with emotional stability that he needs to navigate the challenges of being a Jedi. Shmi, now a custodian and a cook within the Jedi Temple who specializes in bantha stew, offers wisdom and comfort whenever Anakin faces difficulties, always reminding him of the importance of humility and kindness. Padme, on the other hand, had found an assistant job to Jocasta Nu, the chief librarian of the Jedi Temple. Though not force-sensitive enough to be a Jedi, Padme's keen intellect and curiosity now allowed her to absorb much knowledge about the Force. Jocasta, recognizing Padme's potential, teaches her some of the more minor Force abilities in secret. "Focus, Padme." Jocasta Nu's voice is calm but firm as she instructs the young woman. "The Force is all things, but it is subtle. You must learn to sense its smallest details." Padme closes her eyes, concentrating as she tries to move a small object with the Force. The object trembles slightly before lifting a few inches off the ground. Jocasta nods approvingly. "Good. You're learning." Padme's understanding of the Force grows, and she shares her newfound knowledge with Anakin during their private moments together. "Master Nu taught me this," she says one evening, showing him a technique to center his emotions when the weight of his duties felt too heavy. Anakin, the quick learner, absorbs this information eagerly, enhancing his already extraordinary potential. But the galaxy is not at peace, and whispers of the Sith still linger in the shadows, especially after Maul. Darth Sidious begins to hear rumors of some Jedi with extraordinary potential, a young man, the potential to be the chosen one. Deciding to investigate, Sidious arranges a meeting with Qui-Gon, who he sees as his master, under the guise of political diplomacy. Their conversation is cordial, but Sidious's true intention is clear: to become closer with Anakin. "Ah, Master Qui-Gon, I've heard much about your apprentice as well," Sidious says, with a measured tone, his eyes scanning Qui-Gon for any reaction. "Such talent is rare. Perhaps he could benefit from learning about the intricacies of galactic politics, under my guidance and supervision, of course," he says, smiling. Qui-Gon, sensing the veiled intent behind Sidious's offer, politely declines. "Anakin's path is with the Jedi, not with politics. He must focus his remaining energy on his training," Qui-Gon says. Though Qui-Gon cannot detect the Sith Lord's presence in the Force, his instincts tell him that something is amiss, and that his interest in Anakin is not benign. He knows the dangers that lie in the political arena, and he remains ever cautious of the darkness that he feels is lurking around Palpatine. As Sidious departs, his mind turns to other plans. While he's unable to sway Anakin for now, he is patient, knowing that the seeds of doubt could be planted over time. And with the galaxy poised on the brink of turmoil and galactic conflict, he knows that it will not be long before he makes the strike. Anakin's Jedi Starfighter touches down on the dusty sands of Tatooine, the twin suns casting a long shadow over Mos Eisley as he exits his cockpit. His heart pounds with a mix of fear and anger, the echoes of the bounty hunter's threat ringing in his ears from Coruscant. His sister Padme was in danger, and he's determined to save her no matter what the cost is. Without hesitation, he makes his way towards the Jutland Wastes, the arid landscape familiar yet foreboding. The wastes stretch out before him, a barren expanse of rocky outcrops and shifting dunes. As he moves deeper into the desolate terrain, the stillness is broken by the faint sound of rustling sand. Anakin's instincts sharpen, and his hand moves to his lightsaber hilt. Emerging from the shadows are 5 notorious figures, each one of them more dangerous than the last. Jango Fett, his Mandalorian armor gleaming, Aurra Sing, her cold eyes fixed on him, Cad Bane with his wide-brimmed hat casting a shadow over his menacing grin, Bosk, the Trandoshan bounty hunter, hissing in anticipation, and Zam Wesell, the changeling assassin, her form shifting subtly in the desert heat. "Where is she?" Anakin's voice is low and menacing as he activates his lightsaber, its blue blade humming with lethal energy. He steps forward, his eyes blazing with resolve. "Where is my sister? I know that you took her." From behind the bounty hunters, another figure steps forward, dragging a bound and gagged Padme. Anakin's breath catches in his throat as he sees her, his eyes wide with fear but still defiant. The figures holding her is none other than the man that he had seen on Tatooine all those years ago, the one who had bore the devilish face tattoos. This is Darth Maul, his crimson and black tattoos stark against his skin, his yellow eyes gleaming with malevolence. Anakin Skywalker, Maul hisses, his voice dripping with darkness. You have come just as we expected. Before Anakin can respond, another presence emerges from the shadows. The air around them grows heavy with the oppressive darkness as Darth Sidious steps into the light. His hooded figure, cloaked in shadows, sends a chill down Anakin's spine. The Sith Lord's eyes, filled with cold calculation, lock onto Anakin's, studying him as if gazing into his very soul. Sidious's voice is like a silken whisper, filled with the promise of so much power, and yet so much despair. You care deeply for your young sister, Skywalker. I admire that. Such attachment is unusual for a Jedi. I knew when I picked her up with my bounty hunters that you would come looking for her. I knew that I would finally be able to attack you and find out what it would take to bring you to my side. Anakin tightens his grip on his lightsaber, his anger flaring. Let her go, he says. Sidious raises a hand, silencing him. You have a choice to make, Anakin. Join us. Embrace the power of the dark side and save your sister. Or you can refuse and watch her die. Anakin's heart races, torn between the fear of losing Padme and the revulsion he feels at the dark side's lure. His eyes flick to Padme, seeing the fear in her eyes, and he feels the weight of his decision crushing down on him. Padme, her voice muffled by the gag, manages to shake her head, silently begging Anakin not to fall into the trap. Anakin's eyes and mind both race, the teachings of Qui-Gon Jinn and the Jedi Code battling against his desperate need to protect his sister. No, Anakin finally says, his voice steady but filled with raw emotion. I won't join you. Sidious's expression darkens and he motions to Maul. So be it. Before Maul can react, Anakin explodes into action. His lightsaber a blur as he charges forward. The bounty hunters move to intercept, but Anakin's focus is unbreakable. He fights with a fury born of love and fear, his blade meeting the attacks of Jango Fett and Aurra Sing with precision and strength. He needs to reach Padme to save her from the darkness that threatens to consume them both. But as the battle rages, Anakin realizes that this is no simple test. Sidious and Maul are watching every single move, gauging his strength, his potential, and his resolve. This is a moment that would define his future, and Anakin wouldn't let it go to the hands of these two Sith. Anakin knows deep down that this fight is also only the beginning. The true battle was yet to come. Before Anakin can react, suddenly a green blade ignites and pierces through Bossk's chest without him noticing. The Trandoshan can barely register his fate before collapsing to the sand dunes below. Emerging from the shadows comes Qui-Gon Jinn, his expression calm but resolute as he steps into the fray. Jango and Cad Bane turn to confront the seasoned Jedi Masters, their blasters aimed with deadly precision. Anakin, focus! Qui-Gon commands, his voice cutting through the chaos. We can't let them divide us. Master Qui-Gon, how'd you know I was here? Anakin says. Qui-Gon shakes his head. Oh, Anakin, I knew that as soon as you received that message about the bounty and about the ransom for your sister, that you'd come to save her. I followed you. Anakin's heart pounds as he squares off against Sidious, the Sith Lord's eyes yellow and gleaming with dark intent. Thank you, Master, he says as he watches Sidious grin. Before he can fully engage the Master, though, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Quinlan Vos arrive, leaping into battle with swift precision. Obi-Wan's blue blade clashes with Aurra Sing's crimson lightsaber, while Vos locks Zam Wesell in a deadly duel, the changeling's form shifting as she tries to gain an advantage. Sidious's cold smile widens as he faces Anakin, and his whisper a voice of malevolence. You're outmatched, young Skywalker. Your power is nothing compared to mine. But Anakin refuses to back down, his lightsaber humming with energy as he meets Sidious's first strike. The two clash in a ferocious battle, but it quickly becomes clear that Sidious is far stronger than Anakin had ever anticipated. Each blow from the Sith Lord sends shockwaves through Anakin's arms, the dark side radiating from Sidious in waves of crushing power. Nearby, Qui-Gon engages Darth Maul once again, the Zabrak Sith apprentice stronger and more aggressive than he had been in their meeting before. Maul's twin blades spin in a deadly dance, and Qui-Gon finds himself pushed to his limits, his every move calculated to counter Maul's relentless assault. The memory of their last duel is fresh in Qui-Gon's mind, but he can sense that Maul has grown even more dangerous. Obi-Wan and Voss fight with determined precision. Sing and Wessel are formidable opponents, but they are no match for the combined experience of the Jedi Knights. Within moments, Sing is disarmed and incapacitated, while Wessel is cut down before she can even attempt another shapeshift. Seeing this, Jango and Cad Bane exchange glances and decide that this battle is no longer worth the risk for the money that Sidious was paying. With their pace secured and their lives at stake, they retreat, jetpacks and speeders carrying them swiftly away from the battlefield. Now free to assist, Obi-Wan and Voss rush to aid Anakin and Qui-Gon, but the tide of the battle has turned grim. Maul, in a moment of ruthless efficiency, feints past Qui-Gon's defenses and delivers a stunning blow in his midsection. Qui-Gon gasps in pain, the searing heat of the lightsaber wound sapping his strength. He collapses to the ground, the life draining from him. "No!" Anakin's cry echoes through the canyon as he watches Qui-Gon fall. His vision blurs with rage, and the force within him swells to a dark intensity. Obi-Wan, similarly affected, joins Anakin in a furious assault on Sidious, their combined rage pushing the Sith Lord onto the defensive. The raw, unrestrained power of the two Jedi attack overwhelms Maul, his attempts to maintain control faltering under their relentless attack. Sidious, sensing the imminent defeat at the hands of these two Jedi, unleashes a powerful force push, sending both Anakin and Obi-Wan crashing into the ground away from him and his apprentice. He then raises his hands, lightning crackling at his fingertips, and it hurls towards the two Jedi. The sheer force of the lightning pins them down, their bodies convulsing with pain as they struggle to hold off the onslaught. Sidious strides forward, his victory seemingly assured. But as he closes in, ready to deliver the killing blow, a green lightsaber suddenly ignites and pierces through his stomach. Sidious's eyes widen, and he gasps. The lightsaber is Qui-Gon's, and holding it is Padme, her face set with fierce determination. She had summoned the weapon to her using the Force, and now, when an opening was presented, she struck. Sidious crumpled to the ground, clutching his wound as he turns to face Padme, hatred burning in his eyes. He reaches out to kill her, but Anakin is faster. With a swift, decisive strike, Anakin decapitates the Sith Lord, ending Sidious's darkness. Meanwhile, Quinlan Voss continues to engage Maul with skill and cunning. The two trade vicious blows, but Voss's experience and underhanded tactics give him the upper hand. In a final brutal strike, Voss slices Maul across the stomach, sending the Sith apprentice falling into the ravines of the Jutland Wastes, his body disappearing into the darkness below. The battle is over, but the cost is high. The remaining Jedi rush to Qui-Gon's side, but it's too late. He's dying, his breath shallow and labored. Anakin kneels beside him, tears streaming down his face. "The prophecy fulfilled," Qui-Gon whispers, his voice barely audible. "The Force is in balance." As Qui-Gon breathes his last breath, his body fades into the living Force, leaving the others stunned and grieving. Anakin and Obi-Wan share a look of deep sorrow, knowing that their path forward will forever be shaped by this loss. They return to Coruscant with the bodies of the Sith Lords, and the galaxy is forever changed by what had transpired. Upon learning that Palpatine was the Sith Lord, confirming Qui-Gon's account of Darth Maul, the Jedi Council is both relieved by the deaths of their enemies and concerned by their failure to sense the Sith presence so close to them. The bodies of the Sith are incinerated to prevent any further dark influence, and Palpatine's death is covered up to maintain secrecy. Only the Jedi Council knows the truth of what had transpired. Palpatine's sudden disappearance from the Senate throws it into disarray. After weeks of political turmoil, a new election is held and Bail Organa emerges to be the next Chancellor. With Sidious gone and the Sith's grand plan thwarted, along with the Republic continuing to struggle to maintain itself, Count Dooku takes the opportunity to de-escalate the Separatist crisis. Peace talks with Bail Organa lead to a resolution of many of the Outer Rim issues and also end up giving some systems independence that don't want to join the Republic. Dooku reveals the existence of the Clone Army, which is now employed as a galactic police force alongside the Droid Army to combat crime syndicates. In recognition of their bravery and contributions, Anakin and Obi-Wan are promoted to Jedi Masters and given seats on the Jedi Council. Quinlan Vos also joins the Council, agreeing to train Padme as his apprentice after her Force abilities played a crucial role in their recent victory. Despite the grief over Qui-Gon's passing, Anakin and Obi-Wan are comforted by Qui-Gon's Force Ghost, who continues to guide them in the ways of the Force. As the Jedi Order participates in the cleanup across the Outer Rim, Anakin and Padme lead the Order into a new era of peace together. Their efforts help eradicate the slavery galaxy-wide and foster a spirit of mutual aid and cooperation throughout the Republic, shaping a brighter future for the galaxy. It seemed like this time, Anakin still might have been the chosen one. However, he had a little bit of help in getting there.